Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee. In this show, we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon. And contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, guys, it is that time. It is the Star Wars The Last Jedi review. I am joined by the Mistress of Mandalore herself, Miss Lisa Locke McGahee.
Hello.
All right, guys. So, it is Saturday morning. Lisa and I have now seen the film twice. We went Thursday night to the preview night, and then we went last night with a bunch of our friends to go see it as well. Like I said, I always like to see a movie twice before I really review it. First time you have those expectations. Second time you get a clear head as far as what the film really is. So, with that out of the way, Lisa, first impressions of The Last Jedi.
I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it.
Compared it to Force Awakens.
I did not like it as well as Force Awakens.
Okay.
I liked Force Awakens better.
And you said you like Rogue One even more than that.
Yeah, I love Rogue One. I really like Rogue One.
Okay, fair enough. Cool.
But, I mean, I liked it, obviously. I liked it a lot. I liked it better than the prequels, but it was not my favorite one.
It's not exactly a high bar there.
I know, I'm just saying. But it wasn't my favorite, but I did like it a lot.
Yeah, okay, cool. What's something that stand out? What's something that really you liked about, like, say, what's one thing you stand out?
I think my biggest thing I liked about it was all of the moments that were, like, Kylo Ren and Rey and Luke and the Snoke. Like, all the, like, Jedi stuff. That was the stuff I really liked about it. All those moments when they were, like with Rey developing her powers and the just with Kylo Ren and being able to see his turmoil and, like, with the way Snoke was manipulating them and then just getting Luke and then with Yoda popping in. Like, I mean, I really liked all of that.
Okay, guys, sorry, beforehand, of course, spoilers. Sorry, spoil. I always try to put it at the beginning, I always forget, guys. If you have not seen the film, pause it, come back, hear what we have to say, and then fire back on the social media accounts and Gmail account. Okay, continue.
You just need to put something on, like, your page, like, right at the beginning of everything that just says, Dayspring Discussions is full spoilers.
Yes.
Like, full spoilers.
Full spoilers, yes. Sorry. Well, that's why I wait so long, I wait till, like, Sunday to post it because most people who are afraid of spoilers has seen the film by then. Mm-hmm. So I try to, wait a little bit to get people to see the film and then they can join in the discussion. So, but anyway, yes. Kylo Ren, Rey, I love that part of it. Mm-hmm. It really cements that these are the two main characters in this trilogy. The relationship they had and the connection they had, I think, was the standout of the film by far. I was watching last night, like I said, trying to watch people's reactions, having seen it for a second time, when Kylo Ren and Rey went back to back to fight the guards, and I could hear people kind of cheering or like, yeah, all right. It was different. For me, nothing happened in this film that I was expecting to happen.
Oh, no.
And that's what it was. Rian Johnson, director, I felt like he took a lot of risk with this film as far as the narrative, where the story went, and what happened to some of the characters, too. Because I did not expect all the character deaths.
Oh, there was a lot of deaths. A lot more than I was expecting.
Exactly. And then, of course, you have that little bit of sadness as well, knowing that this is Carrie Fisher's last film. That was kind of hanging over. So, just to touch on that a little bit, I told you this because we've talked about it, of course, the last couple days. I really feel like I want to see the character of Princess Leia again if they have to recast her.
I do not. I
get it. I'd be fine if they didn't, but I feel like there's so much more, mainly because of the whole Force power
They're not going to do that in a film. I just don't think so. I think if they're going to address Leia's Force abilities, they would have done it already.
Yeah.
Or they're going to do it in a book.
And they did.
I just do not
address
think,
it.
especially since you just got done saying that the focus of this trilogy, you are clear now, is Rey and Kylo. So why would they take when they only have one movie left? They still have to develop. They have to regrow the rebellion. And do whatever they're going to do with the little Jedi kid they showed at the end, the little Force power kid.
I don't think they're going to do anything with that, honestly.
I mean, well, anyway, I just don't think that there's even remotely time to address Leia's Force abilities in the films. And she's dead in real life. So, like, as much as you want to hope for that, I just don't think it makes any sense.
I get it. They give us a little preview because, there has always been speculation about did Leia actually learn the ways of the Jedi? Did she expand on any Force abilities? And in this movie, we got our answer because
it doesn't show that she trained. It just
she
shows
survived
she
in
learned.
space. I mean, you know, she's got to have some kind of focus in order to do that.
I think she's also, you have to remember, she is a Skywalker. She has the potential to be just as powerful as Luke.
And you don't
so even untrained,
do that unless you know some training.
Yeah, but Rey, look at how powerful Rey is with like almost zero training. You don't think that Leia, who is literally a descendant, like a child of Anakin Skywalker, would be able to use her Force abilities without any training?
I honestly, I don't know.
Especially after years of watching Luke and seeing her child develop his Force abilities, I don't think that she was trained. I think her focus has always been the galaxy, like the Senate, the Republic, the, you know.
And we agree that, yeah, with the books, of course, like Bloodlines, we know that her focus has been in building up the New Republic.
But that doesn't mean that she doesn't feel. I mean, she obviously knows how to use the Force.
Yeah, just from from the Princess Leia books or even from Empire Strikes Back, you know she has some tune with the Force. She never just knew what it was. When she finds out Vader's her father, I think she does have that connection and maybe explores it a little. That's what I'm saying. I think she just explored it.
Yeah,
a little.
I don't think she was by any means trained in the Jedi arts. I think she just understands more about it. Because of being around Luke and her child having it, the power as well, and just that she's able to harness it in some respect when she needs to.
Yeah, I got you. So going back to Rey, she was definitely the hero of the franchise. She didn't turn dark like some people were thinking, at least not yet. But what do you think of Daisy Ridley in this one? I mean, she was so new and charming in Force Awakens. Now we've gotten used to her. How do you feel about her character journey in this one?
I mean, I thought it was interesting. I like how I like that they weren't afraid. I think she did a good job in her acting. Yeah, I think Daisy Ridley is
There was one line what got me a little bit was when she was talking to Luke. It was like at the beginning there where they were going up to the rock and she was something like, the Resistance needs you, blah, blah. And it was just so kind of a wooden line. But the rest of the performance was fine. It was just that line. It wasn't as well said as the rest of it, so it just threw me off a little bit. But yeah.
No, I mean, I think overall, I think she, as an actress, I think she did fine. I mean, I think she definitely has the physicality for it, like
she looked buff in this one.
Yeah,
too.
well, I mean, any of the little featurettes that you've seen, she talked about how she felt like she had to up her game in the training because training with Adam Driver. I mean, he's a Marine. Yeah, she was like, he gives 120% every time he is training. And so she's like, being in the same room with him during training, she's like, you've got to up your game because he's amazing.
Well, that fight sequence is really, well choreographed, too. That was a really good fight sequence. I mean, I wouldn't put up... my favorite lightsaber battle is Anakin and Obi-Wan in Episode 3. But this was a good one. I definitely put it up there. But the thing is, too...
There was some cool moves in this one.
Yeah. There was... We didn't actually get... This is the first... Minus Rogue One... This is the first episode film. We didn't get a lightsaber on lightsaber battle, though.
Oh, that's true, because they weren't fighting people with lightsabers.
They were fighting the guards who didn't have lightsabers. Had
other things.
So there's that. One thing, I was listening to the Collider video review, and they brought up a good point as far as the themes of these last couple films. Force Awakens was about identity, where Finn was trying to break away from the First Order, find out who he was. Same thing with Rey, figuring out who she was. And then Kylo Ren. Those were kind of our three main characters. And in this one, the theme of this film was choices. Kylo Ren had to choose to go to the dark side. Rey had to choose to go to light. Finn had to choose the Resistance.
Yeah. He had to choose not to be a coward.
Yeah.
Which he had been for a long time.
Choose not to run away.
Right. But I think that it's not about... I think that just kind of shows you that you're not... You don't have to be what your bloodline tells you have to be. You have the choice of your destiny.
Okay. All right, so let's get into kind of the big question. For 2 years now, we've been talking about big questions. And there's two big questions, so let's just go into them right now. The film addressed Rey. According to Kylo Ren, her parents are nobody. They are scavenger scum that sold her off for money.
And they're both dead.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't. I don't. Because I think that for someone to have that level of power that Rey has without training, she has to come from something. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of people have Force abilities who don't have any kind of Force lineage.
But to be that powerful.
But to be that powerful without any training, I mean... the day, like, really, like, if you look at The Force Awakens, like, the day she discovered she has Force abilities, she was able to control somebody's mind.
The weak-minded.
Still, but I'm just saying, like...
Yeah.
For her to be able to do that on the first day that she really realized that she has Force abilities, and then with this, I mean, she didn't really train with Luke.
No,
I mean,
Luke didn't teach her anything.
No, he taught her a couple of things.
Just
but
that first lesson was about being more in tune with the Force, so I think that was kind of a lesson there. But the other two things were not lessons at all.
Yeah, I mean, really, he didn't teach her anything. So this level of power that she has, I mean, for her to be able to actually stand off with Kylo Ren when they were battling for that lightsaber, that is raw power.
Exactly. And Kylo Ren is a Skywalker who has been training as a Jedi his whole life.
Yeah, by Luke, who is the most powerful Jedi, basically, like, ever.
Yes, we'll get to that.
So, I mean, I just don't believe it.
She can't be, and I'm trying to, since we've seen the film, I've tried to rationalize it, and the best thing I can come to is Ezra. Ezra is powerful in Star Wars Rebels, but I don't think he's as powerful as Rey, even with, without training and stuff like that. So I really don't have to compare that. Like we were talking about, she can't have that raw power without having some kind of, lineage to her. Because Luke, Leia, and Kylo are all powerful because they're descendants of the Chosen One, Anakin, Jedi Jesus, whatever you want to call him. Rey, there are other powerful Jedi that are very powerful, like Master Yoda. But with Master Yoda, he spent hundreds of years training as a Jedi, which is why he's so powerful, So with Rey, how can she be so powerful without so little training? It's kind of... Yeah. And it's got to come down to lineage, really. Yeah.
I mean, and just because the parents, and I'm doing air quotes here, that dropped her off and sold her for money, that doesn't mean those were actually her parents.
Yeah, true. True story.
I mean, just because they're the ones who had been raising her to that point and had left her...
Maybe they stole her as a baby or something?
Or maybe... maybe...
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're actually her parents.
So, as of right now, the movie says they're nobodies. But we're going to go into something. I feel like they're not nobodies. If they turn out to be nobodies, would you be okay with it?
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah? Okay. All right, fair enough.
I mean, I just don't think it makes sense.
I think there's got to be more to it. Either that, there's that...
And just that connection that she has with Ben, with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And more than just Snoke... bending their minds together or whatever, because even after he was gone, they still had that connection.
And it's one of the things, exactly, where I was looking at it from the perspective of with Luke and Leia. They had that little connection in this film with them, and I really felt like that's where they were going with. They were brother and sister for Kylo and Rey. That's where I felt like, because they had that connection, and then they showed the connection between Luke and Leia. So that's really where I felt they were going with it. But of course, they threw that out there. But I'm still not convinced it's nobody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either. I don't believe it.
Sticking with that, okay? I've talked about this on previous episodes and stuff like that. Now that we know that Rian Johnson is doing a new Star Wars trilogy that is unrelated to anything we've seen so far, are the episodes. I think Episode 9 is the end of the Skywalker story. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But in order for that to happen... Rey cannot be a Skywalker. So, I mean...
Why? You think that Episode 9 is going to be the last Kylo Ren?
I think Kylo Ren's going to bite it in Episode 9. And, of course, obviously Leia's gone. And that's it. Skywalkers are done. I think I would be... I'm not saying I want that. I'm not saying I think that's what's going to happen. But I would be okay if after Episode 9, we're done with episodes. Because the episodes are the Skywalker story. If the Skywalkers are done, let's be done with episodes. Let's move on from the episodes. But that's just me. So, okay, so let's go back to Kylo as well, being the, I think, second main character of the story. Adam Driver pulls it off great.
Oh, I thought he did an amazing job.
Great job. The way he interacted with Daisy Ridley, they had great chemistry.
Just the way he portrayed his character.
And you really thought he was going to flip.
Oh, you did. I was very impressed with him in this movie. I mean, just the way in his face, like his acting, I mean, you could see the torment in his face every time his face was on screen. Like, that is impressive acting. I mean, it wasn't just what he said or his movements. I mean, he really made you feel that pain, that struggle, like just by looking at him. I was very impressed.
Yeah, like of course, as soon as that fight sequence was done, you know, I was like, okay, well, you know, it looks like he's turning, but then he looked at that throne, and I was like, oh no, he's not done. Because after Snoke died, you know, I was like, well, who's the villain? Who's the villain? And then you see he looks at the throne, and I'm like, he's the villain now. Yeah, that's what's going to be. And the next one is going to be about, you know, it's Rey leading the Resistance versus Kylo leading the First Order.
I told you, even though the movie made you feel like he might turn, I firmly believe he is not a redeemable character.
No, and Luke and Leia cemented this in this one. At the end, when Luke went to Leia, he's like, I can't turn. He's not redeemable.
And even Leia.
Yeah, like, even his own mother. Yeah. Although, again, they played with that because at the beginning there, he wouldn't fire on the ship.
But that doesn't make him a redeemable character that he can't kill his mom.
But he can't kill his dad.
Well, we've had this discussion
before.
Let's not talk
Wait,
about
we didn't.
This
did we have this discussion on mic though?
No, I don't think
No, we didn't. We had this discussion in the car one time about how there's a better connection between mothers and children rather than fathers and children, which is why
that's not what I said.
That's exactly what you said.
Exactly what
you said. That's exactly what you said.
I just said that in general, children tend to have a stronger bond with their mothers than their fathers. I am not saying that's always. Obviously, there are many, many fathers that are amazing dads and have amazing relationships. I mean, Nora would be devastated if you weren't around anymore. But that is not the norm, and I think in general, children, especially boys, their bonds with their mothers are something that's very different from... You always hear about guys and their dads not getting along, and guys and their mom... It's mama's boys. It's always mama's boys.
Well, it's with the parents, too, because, you know, you have...
And Han wasn't an amazing dad.
Well, I'll give you that. But with that, too, it's, you know, it's... fathers and sons and mothers and daughters. That's a lot of times you see that in stories or movies.
It's the other way around.
Mothers and daughters.
No, daddy's boys.
No, I'm talking about
daddy's girls and mothers.
I'm just saying, if you watch a movie, most of the time, if there's a female character and she has a problem, usually it's with the mom.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And same thing with the son. With the son, they usually have a problem with the dad.
Yeah, it's very common. That's what I'm saying. So I think for him, it's his mom.
He's a mama's boy.
It's a mama's boy.
He's a mama's boy. He's a boy.
Well, and you have to think, too, especially for him, he gets his power from her.
Yeah.
From her lineage.
They feel the Force connection.
Yeah, I think it's different than with Han.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, let's move on here to Mr. Luke Skywalker, the Grand Master Jedi. I think, if anything, this story proves he is the greatest Jedi ever. Agreed?
Yeah.
And one thing this film did was introduce us to a new Force power, the projection, so to speak. We've never seen that in a Star Wars movie before. I don't remember ever kind of reading about that in any of the books or anything like that.
I haven't.
Luke being able to project his image, you know, from great distances, but also up towards the mind connection and seeing each other with Kylo Ren and Rey and stuff like that. So I think that's another thing about the film, that taking risks, introducing us to something new. Is what it was, and whether audiences who have seen Star Wars for many, many years now was going to accept it, and I think they did. I accepted it.
I think so. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, I think even, you know, we went with our friends last night, and I think I haven't really gone in depth to talk to them about it, but I'm pretty sure they were okay with it.
Yeah.
But Luke Skywalker projected himself to be that hope. You know, that's what the Rebels needed, and they gave us that little twist there where he wasn't really there, and I mean, I know we both got the sense that something was up. His hair was different.
Yeah, he looked
and why
younger.
did he have the blue lightsaber that just got destroyed?
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of and stuff there. But we also learned, they established it at the beginning, with the line as well, where projecting himself like that takes up a lot of energy, and really that just wore him out. Considering he hadn't been really using his Force abilities for that long, he, you know, wore himself out to where I think he was in a weakened state where he join the Force. And I think it's not, again, with this film, I didn't get what I wanted or what I thought was going to happen, but I was satisfied with what we got. So Luke Skywalker's ending, he went out peacefully, like Rey said. It was satisfying.
Yeah, I think so. And it still leaves it open for him to come back in the next one.
Yeah, I think he's definitely coming back
as a
Force Ghost. I think he's definitely coming back. We're not done with him, especially since we got Yoda. Now, there were rumors, of course, that we were going to see some Force Ghosts. I was hoping for an Obi-Wan Force Ghost instead, but Yoda, given that he really is the one that trained Luke, it makes sense that Yoda was the one he saw. I love Yoda. First off, I love that he was a puppet, you know, going back to...
And Frank Oz did the voice.
Of course. And that he was still Henri Yoda.
Yeah.
He was Henri Yoda that Luke first met, you know. It was good seeing him like that. And we also saw that he's able, as a Force Ghost, still to affect the real world. He brought down the lightning and burned down that tree, you know, kind of showing Luke that, you know, you can have an effect on the real world. And I don't know if that's, again, something they're going to explore more or what. Maybe Luke's going to try to have an effect. Maybe he's going to haunt Kylo Ren. That would be awesome. What would piss off Kylo Ren more than being haunted by the master he hates so much? That would be, and him doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
Him not being able to do anything about it because, you know, he is part of the dark side, so he really can't do that, right? Because Anakin only went and became a Force Ghost because he turned back to the light before his death. If you die dark side, that's not going to happen. But in any event, Luke Skywalker, how do you feel about the backstory? The backstory they gave about why Kylo turned and Luke's moment of weakness.
Well,
really.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. They didn't really give the backstory in that because basically Luke said at that point Snoke had already gotten his hold on Kylo Ren.
And we know...
I mean, because Luke said he had been sensing the darkness in him, but then that night when he went and looked into, he said, I saw that Snoke had already turned his heart. Like, he had already turned him. He was already... The darkness had already been, like, harnessed by Snoke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think
it was a tipping point, I think, was what it was.
Right, like, Snoke had already gotten his grip in Kylo Ren. Luke had already sensed his power and the darkness that was in him. But I agree with Rey that Kylo Ren had not made a choice yet.
Yeah.
But Luke coming there and basically scaring him, I think kind of was the point where it showed him, like Luke said, it showed him that his master didn't trust him.
Going back to choices real quick, I forgot that, you know, we had a lot of things, too, where this was very reminiscent of other things. But that's what Star Wars is. There's echoes of other things. And I remember there's this echo of Anakin and Luke about how, you know, they strike down their villain. Luke was at the end of Return of the Jedi when he defeated Vader and he's about to kill him. And then Anakin in Episode 3 at the beginning there when he's defeated Dooku and he's about to kill him. And they both make a choice. Anakin makes the wrong choice. Luke makes the right choice.
Or Anakin makes the dark choice. Luke
exactly.
Makes the light choice.
And then going back to, let's go to Kylo Ren. He has the choice there. He's at that throne room setting, much like the other two films, and he makes the choice.
Dark choice.
Yes, exactly. So, but at the same time, I think you could almost say that's also Rey's choice as well, too, whether to join Kylo Ren or stay with the good side, too.
Yeah.
For me, Luke was, like I said, that was the tipping point. I think... Like I said, I wanted them to mention that moment where Ben finds out about Vader. I mean, I think I'd like to get that in a book. I think we're going to get a lot more stuff like...
I mean, that was long before.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was just a kid.
It was 6 years before.
Right.
Yeah. So
not before this movie.
No, like, remember, because the galaxy found out about Vader and Leia and Luke 6 years before Force Awakens. So he had to be late teens, early 20s when it happened. I
thought that he was younger than that.
I mean, in the movie, he looked like he was mid-teens.
Yeah, no, I thought in the books, I thought he was younger than that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on it. But in any event there, I think it was a tipping point, really, is what it was. Because I wanted to see that moment, because I think it was building up. Because also from the Force Awakens book, there's lines where Yoda and Leia are talking about how Snoke has known Ben since he was a kid. He's already had an influence, much like how Palpatine had an influence on Anakin. He probably got Ben to trust him, much like Palpatine did with Anakin, and put that seed in him. And then I felt like...
Just waited for the spark.
The reveal was going to be... The change was going to be him finding out Vader was his grandfather, that the three people he trusted most had lied to him his whole life. I thought that was going to be the turn.
I mean, the reveal that Vader... was their dad came from the First Order. Yeah. Because it was all those people that were planted in this, like, in the government, basically, by the First Order.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's what I thought the change was going to be. And this, you know, Luke, I like it, too, because sticking with Luke's character, in this one, it was the legend of Luke Skywalker. In the book, he got all these great fables about how powerful he was and what an awesome hero he was. And in this one, it really was Luke talking about how he had that image. He believed that image of himself, and that he felt was his downfall, is what happened. He believed he was this righteous hero that had to do what was just and had the power to do it. And that's why he ended up in Ben's room about to do what he just did. And just for a split millisecond, he had the thought to strike him down, and he didn't. But, if only,
But it was too late.
Exactly. If only he had just walked out and Ben hadn't seen him, it would have been a totally different story, maybe. Maybe, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. The darkness was already there.
The darkness was already there, but I think it would have gone a little different. Again, if Luke had the faith in Ben, that's what's weird. Luke didn't have the faith in Ben that I felt like he had in his father, which I don't know. I mean, he didn't sense any more good in him.
Yeah, it's like in Darth Vader, he kept sensing the goodness, but in Ben, all he was sensing was the bad.
Yeah, and Rey tried to sense the goodness in Kylo Ren as well, which, turned against him. So we talked a little bit about Leia. Did you want to talk any more about that? I like her character. I like the ending part, okay? There's end there where she's sitting down and talking to Rey. And she's talking about, Rey's like, how do we, start from here? How do we,
how do we build a rebellion?
And Leia gives her that look. It's like, I've done this before. She's like going from not only the books, but Rebels. Rebels, that's what I love about Rebels too, is you have those 4 seasons, and it starts small, and you gain bigger and bigger throughout the series. So it's like, Leia's like, I've done this before. I know how we do it. Although I don't think it's going to be her that does it. It's going to be Rey.
It's going to be Rey.
That does Rey
and Poe.
And Poe. Poe, of course, let's talk briefly about Poe.
I mean, I think ultimately Poe is going to be the one that takes over.
Yeah, and that's what Leia was. Even in the Poe comic book that's out right now, before Force Awakens, you can see Leia wants to groom Poe to take over.
But she's just trying to get some of his fire.
Exactly.
Because he's a little too impulsive.
And that's what it was in this film. He started off, fiery and not wanting to lead. And by the end of the film, she was, smiling when he took charge and did what was right. At the end there, he told Finn to break away, doing what Leia told him to do at the beginning of the film. He grew as a character. And Oscar Isaac,
and as a leader.
Yeah. Oscar Isaac did a great job.
I thought he was great.
And I love that Poe wasn't even supposed to make it. Yeah. He was supposed to die in The Force Awakens. Now he's come on to be really like the third hero in this saga.
Which I'm glad, because I really like the character. I really like
Oh my
Poe.
God. I like, he's that humor. He's become the Han Solo.
Yeah.
Definitely the Han Solo. I mean, he's even wearing he even dresses like Han now with the jacket and everything. Yeah. It's like totally. And the joke at the beginning with Hux.
Oh, that was the best. I did think that the movie had a little too much humor, but that bit at the beginning with Hux, I thought was perfect.
Oh, hands down, yeah.
Oh, that was so good. Especially because Hux, well, let's just skip to Hux now since I'm talking about him now. Domhnall Gleeson. Yeah. I thought Domhnall Gleeson as Hux was so good. And he was so perfect in like all his like awkward faces and how he like wasn't getting the humor at the beginning. And then like the scene when he discovered Snoke was dead and he was like gonna pull out his blaster to shoot Kylo Ren, and then he woke up and he was all like covering it back up again. Yeah. He's such a coward, but like he thinks he's so tough.
You know what?
And I thought he was great.
You know what I kept thinking about? I was like, must be what Donald Trump Jr. thinks like.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. And he's
because his dad was.
He's come from a world of privilege where he's basically been given everything. Oh yeah. Is what it is. Unlike some other Imperials that had to earn their way up, he was given his rank. He never had to earn anything. So he's like this spoiled little brat. And he's turned into this basically jealous brother. Jealous of Kylo Ren, of his power, of his connection to their pseudo-father, Supreme Leader Snoke. And, I think he's going to try to betray Kylo Ren at the first point.
Oh, for sure
At the first point, yeah.
But he only will do it if he knows he can succeed.
Exactly.
Because he's a wimp.
But I don't think he has the skills or scheming skills to do it.
No. But I thought he was great.
Yeah, Domhnall Gleeson is great. I want to keep his character in.
Yeah.
He was definitely a standout.
Yeah. The bits of humor that he brought to the movie I thought were great. I think that there was too much humor in a lot of other parts. But I thought his amount of humor was just right. Exactly. Like, just right on track.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the next character. Well, I forgot. We didn't mention the second question that was looming over this movie going in. So let's just jump straight to Snoke, played by the great Andy Serkis. How did you feel? They did I think they did like a mixture of prosthetic and CGI maybe? Or was it just prosthetic?
It was CGI.
I don't know what it was.
No, that was performance.
We'll wait
that
for
was
it.
Performance capture.
Okay.
Oh, for sure.
But he did a great job. But he
But that just shows you how good it was.
Exactly.
That you almost thought it was real.
Exactly. I couldn't tell.
No, that
if
was
it was
performance
real
capture, but it was amazing.
It was totally amazing. The big question, of course, who is Snoke going into this film?
Which they didn't answer at all.
They did not answer. I think
there better be a
book. I think we're getting a book.
There better be a book.
And you know what? That book is gonna sell like crazy because regular fans who don't read the books and are just watch the movies, they have that question too.
Yeah, who was Snoke? Where did he come from? You know, we've talked about this. When we say who was Snoke, I don't mean like, was he Ezra or did he come like? I just want, what is his backstory?
Yeah, what planet did he come from?
Yeah, and how
did he rise to order?
Exactly. Yeah. How did he get to this point in the First Order? Especially because if you read the books at all, you know the Aftermath books build the backstory of where the First Order came from. Because it basically was another plan of Palpatine's. It was his backup plan for if his empire failed. So it all arose out of Palpatine. And you see in the end of that book, the group of Palpatine's people, including Hux, his father, General Rax, Admiral Sloane, you see them all go to find this place where they're going to build their new First Order. So where did Snoke come from? Yeah. Unless he's Rax, but Rax wasn't a Force user. Yeah. So I don't understand, and I really want to know.
Could, no, going with that could be something where they didn't explain it because he is a character from the books. So if you say he was a character that casual fans don't know about, they're not going to care. Yeah. So if they keep it in the books, I think people like us who read the books are going to enjoy it more.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that there's a book that gives you his backstory. Because I want to know how he got to the power he is, how he got his Force powers, like what that's about.
Yeah, I think between the next 2 years, we're going to get a lot. I think now they're going to start giving us stuff between Jedi and Empire. They're going to give us a lot more stuff. I think there's going to be a Ben and Luke book. I think there's going to be a Snoke book. I think we're going to get a lot more stuff. I'd love to get another Leia book too.
Yeah.
Between then, but yeah, I think we're gonna get some good stuff, a lot of backstory about that 30-year period.
But I mean, if you're interested in all, like the Aftermath series wasn't great. It's 3 books. They're not amazing, but I think that they do have a lot of really good stuff in them. If you're interested in where the First Order got, like where the origins come from. Plus, that book also is the not Republic. What do they call it in this one? The Republic, right?
Yeah, the Republic.
It's basically them it's after Jedi. Yeah. When they're kind of starting to form the Republic.
The Battle of Jakku, right? Yes.
Yeah, and then it's all the people who are left from the Empire that are trying to keep the Empire alive. But it's 3 books. Like I said, they're not great. They're not my favorites by any means. But there's some interesting characters and...
A lot of backstory.
And it shows you the beginnings of where the First Order came from.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's move on to something that might not be good. Not the worst part of the film for me, but let's move on to Finn and Rose.
Yeah, Finn, Rose, and Maz Kanata. What a waste of time in this movie. Like, seriously.
And it was weird because, they went on this mission. Which
was irrelevant.
One of the problems with this film, I had, suspension of disbelief, was timing.
Oh yeah, it was not linear.
Yeah. So you got to think that that from the time the main storyline is the First Order chasing down Leia in the Resistance ship, which took place within 18 hours or so.
I don't. Yeah.
Because they said we've only got 16 hours left or something like that.
Yeah, that was a pretty.
And then of course you kept flashing to Rey and Luke on the island.
Yeah, so but that was a longer period of time. Those two things did not happen simultaneously.
Yeah, I think you got to think that Rey was there by the time the First Order arrived to try to catch the Resistance.
I think that there was a gap.
Yeah, there was. Rey had probably been on the island for at least a couple days.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, I don't know how long
for that.
But.
And then of course you had Finn and Rose go off to Canto Bight and then come back by the time they're back. Traveling through space, even light speed, takes quite a long time. So the fact they were to get there.
Do what they needed to do and get back all in a 14-hour period.
Yeah, that didn't quite that suspension. Of
maybe they weren't far from Canto Bight. I don't know. Either way, as I said before when we were talking, I think that the whole Finn Rose subplot over to Canto Bight was literally could have been removed from the movie and nothing would have been lost.
I think a big point of that too was to set up the relationship between Finn and Rose, which will continue in Episode 9.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Rose character too.
Yeah, I liked her. I hated her hair though. What the shit were those little
She was a mechanic.
Floofy things at the side.
She doesn't actually care what she looks like.
Her hair was ridiculous.
Yeah, but I liked that they, of course, the Canto Bight stuff wasn't my favorite, but of course it also set up the kids.
Right, and that's what I said. I think the only good thing that came out of that little side story to Canto Bight, which was very prequel-esque, aka pod racing. Uh-huh. The only thing good came out of it was showing that little boy with the Force ability at the end. Because we've already talked that they're going to have to rebuild the Jedi Order now. And so it's just to show that there are kids out there with Force abilities who know the rebellion is there and who are, like, because at the end when he was, like, looking up to the sky and he had the ring. And
he saw the resistance, the rebellion, and what good they do.
Exactly. And so he, like, is longing for it. So I think that was the only good thing that came out of that bit. Otherwise, that entire side story to Canto Bight with the whole thing about the code breaker, all of that was really worthless irrelevant.
Because the code breaker they wanted wasn't even the code breaker they got.
No, and
now Del Toro as DJ, I thought was great.
Yeah, I thought he was good.
I don't know why they gave him a little stutter though. That was pointless, but his character was great. I think they're definitely going to bring him back for episode 9. Although, did he get a chance to escape before the ship was destroyed?
I bet he did.
I bet he did too. They didn't see him, so I imagine he did. So I think we're going to see him back. But he was important to Finn's character arc as well.
Yeah.
Showing him, that, hey, you don't have to choose sides. And, showing the good and the bad. And he was a big part, I think, of getting Finn to commit to the Resistance, to choosing the Resistance and choosing the good side.
Choosing a side.
A side, yes. I'll go with that.
To choosing anything over himself.
Obviously, he wasn't going back to the First Order.
No. But to choosing to actually choose a side. Like, to make a stance in his life that wasn't all about him.
Yeah, and at the end there, of course, he was willing to die to
save everybody.
To save everybody, to take out the First Order. And then, I mean, you could say the part where Rose knocked him out, and then they had that little line. I like the line that Rose gave.
But I don't think that she meant that necessarily in a I love you kind of way.
No, I mean, I didn't. Honestly, I would have taken out the kiss. I would have put the kiss in there.
Yeah, I know. I kind of wish they had left that out.
But I like the fact that, it was like, we're not going to win this war by, fighting the ones we hate or destroying the ones we hate.
It's by protecting the ones
we love. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I think that was perfect.
I think that was a great line. It's a very good line. So for that, I'm great. And again, I like the Rose character introduction.
I thought she was really good. Her.
And the actress herself seems very charming. Behind the scenes stuff. So I'm looking forward to more of her.
Yeah, I just felt like that whole entire Canto Bight thing.
And with I was with you. Maz is a waste. Maz was a waste.
Why did they even do that?
Yeah. Not of the fact that they saw her. But the fact that she was, like, battling while she was doing that, why couldn't she just be sitting there and talking to them or something along those lines?
Yeah, it was
I don't know why she had to be in the middle of the battle. She was just a great character in The Force Awakens, a standout. So to do this kind of throwaway line, it was like, hey, guys, look, there's Maz,
Yeah,
like, why?
Exactly.
Why would you even do that? I don't care about that at all.
I mean, they could easily have just come to Poe with their plan, and he could have been like, hey, I know a guy.
Yeah.
Like, that whole Maz thing was unnecessary. Like, even more unnecessary than the whole Canto Bight thing.
Fair enough. All right, so let's move on from there to, I think, both of our least favorite thing in this film. Captain Phasma. Played by Gwendolyn Christie. I'll let you go off on this. Go for it.
Okay, so here, let me go on my tangent about Phasma. So I was very underwhelmed by Phasma in Force Awakens. I think everybody was. They pumped it up so much and all the leading up, with the posters and everyone thought Phasma was going to be this cool. She looked cool, and everyone thought Phasma was going to be this, like, amazing force. And then we get the Force Awakens, and we were all like, what? That's it? What? So then we're like, okay, they're going to fix it now. They have all these books they're releasing now and comics and all these things leading up to The Last Jedi. And they were supposed to be, it was all these stories that were released, like we talked about when we were at the Star Wars Celebration this summer in April, where they were like, oh, we're going to have all these books we're releasing, and it's the journey to The Last Jedi. It's leading you up. All these books are supposed to be stories and things that are going to lead you in and get you ready for The Last Jedi. And part of that was a Phasma comic and a Phasma novel. And so I bought into it. I read the novel. I really liked it. It was really good. It was tons of it basically told you who Phasma was, where she came from, how she got to be where she was in the First Order, what her motivations are, the kind of person that she was. I mean, it was a really good book. And it really got me, who didn't really give a crap about Phasma beforehand, really excited to see what Phasma was going to do in the movie. And then in the comic, I didn't read the comic. I don't really do comics.
Yeah, it was just a briefly about it. Kind of reinforced her character, how she's the kind of character that would do anything to survive.
Anything to survive.
For herself, yeah.
Exactly. So then then the movie trailers come out and they show these amazing, her and Finn fighting, and you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. And then you get to the movie, she's in it for like 2 minutes or something. She fights with Finn. She technically beats him, but then he comes back and beats her, and then she freaking falls to her death? Yeah. What the crap? I mean, seriously, what the crap? Like, what the crap, Disney?
As a person, as people who are invested in the characters and read the books, go beyond the films, I felt cheated.
Well, exactly, I did too, because why would they have did all these books telling you all about her, getting you ready for her in this movie just to kill her off in like 2 minutes? I mean,
there was that one part where you saw her eye, and there's a big thing in the books about
her face, you don't see her face. What she looks like.
So I get that part of it, but the fact that basically said, hey, I just wasted hours of my life learning
about this character who is irrelevant now. Like, I'm very disappointed that they did not do more with Phasma in the movie, because all of the prep that they had the last year leading us up to this with all these books and things made you get invested in a character that they just threw away.
Yeah, and it wasted Gwendolyn Christie. Great actress from Game of Thrones. Yeah. She could do so much with that character, and they didn't let her do it. I mean, granted, there's a bunch of deleted scenes, and we'll see if there's anything more with her character.
But either way, she's dead.
Either way, it's not in the...
Either way, she's dead.
She's dead, so... Yeah, exactly. She's pretty much the Boba Fett of this franchise.
Except that we know her history. I mean, we kind of learned about Boba Fett.
Yeah, we learned about Boba Fett.
You've learned about Boba Fett over time with like the prequels and Clone Wars. Right. Okay. But anyway, she's cooler than Boba
I think
Fett.
That was the biggest disappointment for both of us. On top of not learning about Snoke's origin. I'm still not disappointed, because I think they're going to get to that. I think they're going to get to it in a book or something. We're going to see that. So I'm not too worried about that. Rounding out some of the characters, let's talk about some droids. So
I love BB-8. I just want to say that I love BB-8.
He of course did his lovable, cute thing.
He's so cute.
But C-3PO and R2 have taken that back seat. Now, just talking about R2, because R2's my boy. Love the scene in the Falcon where he shows Luke the Leia message. And that was Luke being like, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get involved. And then he shows Luke that message of Leia that was all those years ago to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that kind of switched in to say, okay, I got to at least talk to Rey about something. So really, R2 is known in this saga for saving people. He's pretty much, characters would be dead without R2. And really, I think in this instance, he kind of saved the day again, because he's the one that convinced Luke to at least train Rey or talk to Rey in some way. And it got Luke to think that, with that message, what if Obi-Wan decided not to, do it? So that's why put him in that mindset to where, okay, if Obi-Wan didn't take action, none of the other stuff, the galaxy would probably still be ruled by the Empire, all that other junk. So R2, very important character. C-3PO, just there in the background.
He's just being 3PO like
he's being 3PO. I mean, he used to serve some kind of a purpose in the original trilogy, but both of them have now taken a backseat to BB-8.
Yes.
And
I love BB-8.
Whatever. He's fine.
You know me. I love all these new droids. I love BB-8. I love Chopper in Rebels. I thought K2SO was great in Rogue One. I really like the droids. I think they're really giving the droids some great personality right now in the Star Wars universe.
Oh yeah, I think they're really making them they sell toys. So,
but it's not just about selling toys, because I think that they're really making them where you can feel R2 is amazing and he did amazing things, but you couldn't really sense his emotions. Where I feel like now they're almost anthropomorphizing these droids, where like BB-8 you can almost see in his face how he's feeling. Like they're making it to where you can feel their emotions almost. Like I just think it's really cool what they're doing with the droids now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I buy the whole BB-8 taking down the guards though. That was just like, really?
It was funny though.
It was cool. He popped out the coins, and that was funny, of course. Yes, that's all funny, whatever. All right, so we went kind of through all the main characters. So let's go talk kind of about the ending here. Where do we think we're going? So at the end, of course, the Resistance is really just who's on the Millennium Falcon. Because they sent out a signal to people that might be able to help them,
but
nobody answered. So the Resistance really is at its lowest point. We've seen it. When we talked about maybe we're going to jump ahead a little bit, Because that might solve
I think they're going to have to jump ahead quite a lot. Because if you think about what's going on right now, they have a long way to go to make this rebellion anything worthwhile.
Resistance.
The resistance, sorry. Anyway, if you think about it, the First Order is huge. Yes, they just lost their leader, but they're huge. They're very well established. They're very well funded. And they have lots and lots and lots of resources.
Yeah, and what happened was that the Resistance was funded by the Republic, which was destroyed in Force Awakens by Starkiller Base.
Exactly. So right now, the Republic has just been, literally obliterated. All of the leadership from the entire galaxy was just murdered in the Force Awakens. And now the Resistance has been decimated.
Rest in peace, Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, so, you have to think about the rebellion has a long way to go before they're anything substantial. They're really going to have to basically go into hiding right now.
Kind of what they were, at the beginning of The Force Awakens. Really, they were...
Not even. It's further back from that.
Yeah.
In The Force Awakens, they were at least established, and they had, right now, they don't even have ships. They literally have nothing. Everything they have is those few people that are on the Millennium Falcon. Their base was destroyed. Their cruiser that had all their ships inside, everything has been demolished. They are literally just a group of, 20, 30 people on the Millennium Falcon. That's all that they are.
Let me talk about the Falcon for a sec. First off, I love... Remember when people criticized at the end of Force Awakens that Chewie and Leia didn't get their hug? I think they made up for it in this one with Leia hugging Chewie at the end of this one. I think that's okay, we know we messed up at that one, so here's your Leia Chewie hug right there at the end there. And then, of course, Poe actually meeting Rey, which, of course, we've never seen these characters meet before. And I thought, you think they're going to do a Rey-Poe relationship?
I don't know.
Because
I think it depends on how seriously they take Rey's training.
Yeah. But again, they established, too, things are going to change. Jedi are not going to be like they used to be. Sith are not going to be how they used to be. Which, I totally forgot to mention this. Where are the Knights of Ren?
Yeah, I know. Because Luke did say that he left
with several students.
So what happened to them?
And they've said that, Kylo is the leader of the Knights of Ren. Where are they? Are they kind of like the Inquisitors, where they're out there doing stuff throughout the galaxy?
Maybe.
Perhaps.
Maybe they're overseeing some of the other big ships that are part of the First Order. I don't know.
We didn't get any Knights of Ren in this. I was like, what? Come on now. So I think it's going to be, now that Kylo is in charge of the First Resistance, I think we might,
Order.
He's going to be like,
the First Order.
Okay, First Order. What did I say?
You said First Resistance.
Okay. But now that he's in charge of the First Order, I think he's going to be like, okay, these are my generals, These are my guys I trust, kind of. I think that'd be really cool to see, too. But yeah, I think if you entered a Poe and a Rey kind of relationship, because, people at first were like, maybe Finn and Rey.
No.
But you can see, especially at the end there, he looked at how Finn was taking care of Rose, and he's like, okay, he's got somebody, he cares about somebody. But also because of the fact that Rey is so resembling Leia, and Poe is so resembling Han.
Yeah.
So, and that was I can see that happening. But like I said, I think they are going to have to jump ahead.
I don't think it's necessary. But yeah, I think they definitely are going to have to jump ahead. I think they need to go 10 years.
And it's not uncommon, because between episodes 1 and 2 were 10 years. Between, 3 and 4, obviously, because of, the way it worked out was 20 years, 30 years,
They just have too much to do to make this one pick up.
I don't want to jump ahead too far. Go 4 or 5 years. I think maybe at the most.
I think it's going to take them longer than you think to make the Resistance anything substantial again. And I just think if they go ahead 10 years, you can easily make the characters seem age appropriate, jumping ahead 10 years. And it gives you an easy way to explain why Leia's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Because she could very reasonably just, with all the stress and strain she's been through all this time.
And I'm really disappointed because with this movie too, they said, no, we did not change this movie to to resemble Carrie Fisher's passing. And I saw that. At first when she went out the window, I was like, that's what they did, But then they found out she was still alive. And because of, what she did in this movie and how we heard she was going to be a big part of episode 9, I'm like, gosh, I really wanted to see what they were going to do with her character in the last one. Because obviously, Han went out in the first one. Luke goes out in this one. I'm sure Leia would have been out by the end of the next one. I really wish we could have seen that, but I don't know. I really want to see the character continue into what they wanted to really do with her, but I know it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
I mean, I think that's one of the reasons, again, why Colin Trevorrow left Episode 9, because they had a set, he agreed to do the movie that they had laid out. Carrie Fisher passed away, they had to completely change it, and Colin Trevorrow's like, I'm not on board. I guess. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it, is what I think. Mm-hmm. So, in that respect, but then they brought on J.J. And again, I think it puts a big burden on J.J. Abrams to be like, okay, you get to deal with Carrie Fisher's passing. Go for it.
I'm telling you, I think they just need to jump forward about 10 years. It gives them time to rebuild the Resistance. It gives Rey time to finish her, to do some training. Yeah. And to start finding some younglings that have Force abilities. Yeah. And start training them.
Yeah, and maybe she's been talking to Luke the whole time as the Force
and
goes.
It's gonna it would give time for Poe to really establish himself as the leader of the Resistance.
It's true. Yeah.
I just think they need a gap and to explain away Leia's death.
Speaking of which, I forgot there was that one shot I saw the second time was when Leia goes to sleep, into the coma, whatever. And they're announcing who the next person is going to be. Which I forgot to talk about Admiral Rono. We'll talk about that here in a sec. But there was that shot there where Finn had to look like, is it going to be me?
You mean Poe?
Poe, yes. Finn was like...
I noticed that the first time for sure.
And I was like, again, it's part of his storyline, part of his character.
And he was very disappointed. You could see his face.
He was disappointed, but I also felt he was a little relieved, too, at the same time. But that was a good shot. Oh, my God. I can't believe I forgot about Admiral Holdo. Okay, go for it. Holdo.
Well, this is a whole other side story that has to do with the books. So, Vice Admiral Holdo. And I'm going to preface anything I say about her with saying that I am not a huge fan of Laura Dern. I don't by any means think she's a bad actress, but I think I have some issues. She's not my favorite, okay? But this is not about her as an actress. So, again, we've established very well. I love the Star Wars books. All of the new canon, I love the books. And in the most recent Leia book, which if you haven't read, highly recommend.
Yes, do.
Leia, Princess of Alderaan by Claudia Gray. It's amazing.
Good book. I'll say yes.
Anyway, in that book, you learn, you meet Holdo. You meet her. And she and Leia are friends. They meet in that Leia
Imperial
book.
Senate, like they're
junior Senate. It's kind of like, like being
junior senators.
like a junior senator. But they meet in a situation, and they're the same age. They're like 15, 16 years old, something like that. But you find in that book, you meet the character and you discover kind of her spunk and you know she's going to go far. You discover what kind of person she is. She's how she thinks, how she behaves. And her and Leia have been friends all those years. Mm-hmm. So my issue is I read the books. I am fully invested in the Star Wars lore. And Laura Dern is too young to be Vice Admiral Holdo.
Given the fact that she's supposed to be around the same age as Leia. She's supposed to be the same
age as Leia. And unfortunately for the film, Carrie Fisher looks older than she is.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Had a rough life. So casting somebody who's actually 10 years younger than Carrie Fisher, when Carrie Fisher already looks 5 to 10 years older than she is, I think was a mistake for people like me who it took me out of the movie when I first met her because I was like, dude, she is way too young. Like, way too young. She and Leia are supposed to be equal peers in age. And yes, for the vast people seeing this movie, it was completely irrelevant that Laura Dern is younger and that Vice Admiral Holdo is younger than Leia. Completely irrelevant. Doesn't matter at all to, the vast majority of people. But if they had actually cast somebody who was the right age, it wouldn't have taken me out of the film, and it would have changed nothing for everybody else. So I feel like that was really kind of... I don't understand. There's plenty of people out there who are comparable in acting ability to Laura Dern who could have played that character who are closer to Leia in age, in reality. Or at least look... for me, I found it to be very annoying. It didn't make me not like the movie. I just found it to be very annoying.
Okay, before we go to annoying things... I agree. I share your sentiments. I get what you're coming from. I didn't mind it. First off, I liked that scene where they were getting ready to leave. Mm-hmm. You could sense their relationship. They've been friends for a while, so that was kind of your nod to the book. As a character in the film, I thought she was just fine. Of course, knowing the backstory, I thought it could have been a little bit more, but just, again, trying to keep in mind just the film, I thought she was fine.
I thought she was fine.
Then the sacrifice, which was, awesome. I think, one of the best moments in Star Wars history.
I thought it was great.
I think it was so. And one thing I noticed, again, I talked about this when we left the theater last night after our second viewing. I really noticed in this one the sound design.
Oh, it was awesome.
The sound design of like the not only that, but also again with BB-8, all those coins when he was moving around, you could hear the coins. This film has got to get a sound design definitely nomination, if not win.
Yeah, that scene though where she did the ship like that, how everything got,
the way they did
because it was the same time that with the lightsaber. I mean, I thought it was just impressive. That was really
the way
impressive.
they did it in a complete no
Silence,
sound at all. That was awesome. So her character, I think, for the film worked as her character in the canon. The way it matches up.
I agree. I think her character in the film worked fine. I just am saying I think another actress would have been equally good. The film still would have been great, and you could have had somebody. It would have been, to me, it would have made more sense as a canon. I mean, if they're gonna try to make this shit canon, then they need to make it canon.
Yeah.
You can't say in the book they're the same age, and then in the movie make her 15 years younger.
You know, one thing that people might have a problem with, like us that read the books. This film really did a job of almost making us think the books don't matter.
Yeah, like, why am I going to invest all this time down in the books?
With
and then
Phasma
you're just like,
and Holdo, it was like, why? Yeah. I mean, they're enjoyable, but if they don't match up or they're not important, I mean, why?
Well, I mean, if they really wanted to do a book that led up to this movie, they should have given us one with Snoke's backstory. That would have been much more relevant as a build-up to this film.
I would have cared about more when he died, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
So. All right, so 2 more things I want to talk about before we get to the very last scene.
Okay, well, hurry up, because we're already almost at an hour.
I'm running low. I know. I'm going to be late for work. So, Porgs.
Super cute, but overdone.
Chewie, he had roasted porg, and he was about to eat him. Then
that little super sad porg when he was trying to eat it was so cute.
Again, they got
with a pouty lip, but it was too much.
Again, with the droids, they got to sell toys, and the porg. I think they put them.
They're for the kids.
You could clearly tell they're for the kids, and they put them periodically throughout the film just to be like, hey, remember to buy this toy. Hey, remember to buy this toy. I mean,
they are super cute.
But yeah, I thought it was
overdone.
I think they might have been overdone a little bit, but it didn't take me out of the film.
No,
too much.
Yeah, but it was just too much.
All right. So, last thing, guys, very last part. I mean, I thought they were going to end with the Millennium Falcon flying away, cut to credits. They don't. They go back to Canto Bight with the kids. For this, what this did, like we said, we talked about it, where it established that there is a new generation of rebels that are going to come up. There's a new generation of Force-sensitive children that are yet to be found. And also, I think it also feeds into Rey doesn't have to be somebody. Her parents don't have to be somebody because anybody can have the Force. It's just the level of Force power, of course, is what's in question here. But also, I think this really sets up Rian Johnson's trilogy, is what I got from it. Was that we're getting away from the Skywalkers. Like I said, I was talking about how I think Episode 9 is the end of the Skywalkers, that there are other Jedi out there besides the Skywalker story, and that we're going to get to that in the future, so to speak. And that's kind of what the bigger meaning of what I took away from that very last scene. What did you think?
No, I agree. I mean, I was really hoping that the Rian Johnson's thing was going to be the Old Republic, but
yeah, I think it's given what Rian Johnson has given us in this film. I have no problem. He's going to give us something good.
The only thing that makes me kind of sort of maybe doubt that that's what Rian Johnson's going to do is because I think that they need to jump into the future for the next film, and so I think it would be a mistake to not have those kids. Yeah. At that point, they'd be teenagers. Yeah. To have them as part of the resistance.
Maybe it's kind of like we've seen in Clone Wars and Rebels. Maybe both Kylo Ren and Rey are trying to collect Force-sensitive kids to try to build up both of their regimes.
I agree, but I think that'll be Episode 9. I don't think that'll be Rian Johnson's next thing.
I agree with that.
I think that's going to be Episode 9.
Yeah, I think that to me, as a big symbolic gesture, it was just like, hey guys, get ready because after Episode 9, we're not going to be with the Skywalkers anymore. That's kind of, there's a bigger world out there, is what I'm talking about, which people have been talking. They want to get away from just the characters we know, the spin-off films, all that stuff like that, to get away from it all. So that's the bigger meaning I took from it. Whether those kids will play a part in later episodes in Episode 9, we'll just have to wait and see. So. Yep. All right, guys. Well, that is it for us. Let's just do briefly. Give me a score.
I can't do that.
Okay, well, give me.
I liked it.
Where does it sit in the saga for you?
I don't know.
Top 3, top 5?
No.
Okay, not top 3.
I think it depends if I can pick it apart. Like the problem for me is that as a whole, I liked it, But I was kind of indifferent.
There are a lot of things we didn't like, yeah.
I was kind of indifferent to all the portions that had to do with the Resistance. I loved the bits that had to do with the Force. So for me, it's kind of like, how do those two pieces fit together? Where, like, The Force Awakens, I liked that movie as a whole. I liked all the parts of that movie. You know, look, I have said before, I love Rogue One. I think the problem I have with this one is it felt like two separate movies kind of being jammed together. Yeah. So I don't know. I like it better than the prequels. That's as far as I can go.
Again, not a high bar, but okay. Just as a film, out of, say, 10, I'll probably give it like I want to say either a 7.5 or an 8.
Yeah, I was going to say like
there's too many things I was disappointed in to really love. But the things I loved, I really loved.
I agree. Exactly. That's how I am about that. There was a lot of things I didn't like, but the things I loved, I loved.
Yeah. So what do you think? You know, obviously, in The Force Awakens, we had 2 big questions. What are a question that you have that you want Episode 9 to answer?
The biggest question I have, I don't want Episode 9 to answer. I want a book to answer. I want to know about Snoke.
Okay. That's really what you want.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, I love I think I've said before too, I think one of the reasons I liked Rogue One so much is the 2 books that supplemented Rogue One, Catalyst and Rebel Rising, are so good, and they add so much they just made that movie so much better for me because it just gave so much more of the story, and I think that's one of the reasons I do like Rogue One so much is because those 2 books directly are about.
And I've told you, I feel like after I finished Rebel Rising, I was like, I feel like it's the Jyn Erso trilogy. Catalyst, Rebel Rising, Rogue One, that is the Jyn Erso story. Is what I got from it. So
yeah, no, I agree.
All right, guys, we can sit here and talk much longer about it, but we have to do stuff, and I'm sure you have stuff to do too. So now it's time to fire back and let us know what you think. Hit us up on the Facebook group, Twitter, dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. I'm sure we're going to be discussing the effects in this film for the next 2 years and then beyond. But fire back, let us know what you think. And that's going to be it. Lisa is already out the door and walking away, so she's not even going to say bye. But I will, guys. So thanks for hanging with us. Let us know what you think. And until next time, may the Force be with us all.